slide, if we haven't already, and I'm not sure if I'm locked up here. We do eggs for egg production and sell a lot of that at the farmer's market. Farmer's market has been, in Sandpoint, has been a really great resource for us. We started out in Newport 15 years ago, and it's a much smaller market, but it was a really good way for me to kind of get my, bearings and figure out what I was doing. It's a much smaller area. They don't have the customer base, and so over time we found that we outgrew that market, so we went into Sandpoint. So this is our 5th year in Sandpoint, and it has just been an amazing experience. I love, the amount of encouragement I've gotten from Diane has been wonderful. So we've been there, and because of that, that has increased our meat production. And every year we have our stand, which we do bedding plants, we do produce, we do eggs, and we always have our brochures for meat. And we always get more meat customers because of that. They read our brochures, they ask us questions. We worked really hard to produce a quality product. We don't use GMO feed. We are mostly a grass-based enterprise here, and so we've just worked really hard over the years to produce a quality product. We started out really small, just doing a few market animals for people, again, 15 years ago, and every year we've increased. Mostly we've not had to do any outside marketing because people have told their friends. I've gotten copies of my meat order form from people I don't even know that their friends made them a copy. They sent it in to me with their deposits, and so they've become a new customer. Word of mouth is absolutely huge. And like Stan said, you have to produce a quality product or your customers won't come back. And that's what we've done. I think I've had to replace 2 chickens in 15 years. Why? I'm not really sure what the problem was, but it was a no questions asked. And in reality, they didn't even expect to have the chickens replaced. I absolutely replaced them on their next order. There was just no way that I was going to have them say that there was 2 chickens that they were not satisfied with and then not have them be replaced. So we've become diversified over the years. I don't, as Stan with his berries, he's got multiple markets. I have a few markets, but I have a lot more diversification. We have the market garden, we have bedding plants, we have eggs, and then we have our meat. And we have our meat chickens, which we do throughout the summer. We start processing in June. We take them to a local processor. We have them available June, July, August, and September and October. Every month we do 50 birds, and we have customers that put their orders in. Some people like them in the beginning of summer. Some people want them for fall to be able to put them in their freezer. We also have started doing turkeys a number of years ago, so people have their Thanksgiving turkey. We do our butcher hogs. You can purchase them either by a half or a whole. And here again, those we have done a number of ways. We have farrowed in the past, where we've done, we've produced our own piglets, and that was really great, and we had total control. But as my kids have gotten older and they all go to school, they've been involved in sports, sports season in the middle of winter, and trying to farrow pigs has been extremely difficult. And there's been times when we've lost piglets, especially like a winter like this. In February, when is the prime time to have spring piglets, it's extremely cold. We've had a lot of casualties, and over time we realized it was not cost effective. It was not the only thing that we did, so it was extremely difficult to be able to focus all of our time on that one enterprise. I found it much more cost effective to purchase my piglets from a supplier in Washington, who that's all he does is is Pharaoh Pigs, and he has a hog farm. Really wonderful guy up in Chewelah. I just called him a few weeks ago and said, this is how many piglets I'm going to need. He says, not a problem. I'll have them ready for you the end of next month. And that we have found has been much more cost effective to keep our butcher hog enterprise going. We used to raise butcher hogs to have available in the spring and in the fall, and we just found that it takes too much feed throughout the winter to keep them warm, to be cost effective, to be able to have butcher hogs available in the spring. So now we get them in the spring, we raise them up through the summer, and they're going to the processor in September. People have their meat for winter for their butcher hogs, and they're happy with that. And that also gives us a little bit of a break in the winter, that we don't have as many winter chores. As far as steers, again, we don't have the room. We only have 10 acres. We buy our steers from a supplier up in Bonners Ferry. Called him a few weeks ago, put our order in with him. We'll be picking up the steers next month, bring them out onto the farm. We have multiple pastures that we constantly rotate them on. It's, again, they're grass-fed, a little bit of grain at the end of the season, just to kind of finish them off a bit. Again, a non-GMO grain, and they go to the processor at the end of October. They keep our pastures down. We rotate them. They're a good quality product. We know the supplier that we get them from in Bonners Ferry, who does an amazing job, and our customers are happy. And everyone has meat in their freezer to go in through the winter. Our winter is a little bit slower because of this, because we don't have animals all year. All I really keep in the winter is my laying hens, and I have some meat goats that I keep throughout the winter. And so that gives me the time to spend with my family, to plan my farm season for the next year, and also it keeps other farmers in business, because they're providing me with the stock that I need. And I'm not overworking my land. My land gets a break, and it's kind of a full circle for everyone to benefit. As far as customers, again, we've relied on word of mouth through the farmers market and just repeat customers. Last year, we were not able to do beef. We had some other things going on. And so this year, when I sent out my meat letters, which I send out in January with the prices and the deposits required, and everything needs to be coming back by the beginning of March, so then we can plan accordingly with our suppliers and also what we need to accomplish that year. And that gives our customers time to figure out, their finances, get their deposits in. It gives them all year to be able to save their money for their purchase at the end of the season. And at the end of the season, their freezers are stocked, and they're ready to go for the whole next year. And I have a family up in Medellin that buy their whole entire year's meat from me. And they put in their order. It's huge. And they send their deposits down, and they come down once a year and stop and get their chickens and their turkey, and they go to Woods, and they get their hogs and their beef, and they're good for the season. I won't see them again until next year, and they are so extremely happy with the products that we have provided them. It was just a couple, and now it's their kids, their adult children, and they all buy products from us. So we're extremely happy with the products that we provide people. We eat this food, my family eats this food, and so I want to make sure that what we are providing other people is a really great product. So as far as, we don't really have a, quote, target market, and we're not as diversified. We don't sell in stores. We don't have that kind of avenue that we've gone. Not to say that perhaps we won't, but for these last 15 years, we've been fortunate in that the customers that we have is really is about what we can raise. We haven't really amped up, and part of that is because we do still have kids at home, and we do have other activities. My husband has a full-time job, so it is mostly my farm with their help. when the kids move out in a couple of years and go to college, we're kind of in that transitional period right now, deciding where are we going with this? Are we going to amp up? Will we need to tone down a bit because our kids won't be here? Will we want to take on apprentices? It's just, as a farm, you're constantly having to transition. Not anything is ever set in stone. Every year is a different year, and you need to look at, your customer base, the weather you think you may be having, the economy, what people are going to be able to afford, and also the help that you're going to have. Are you going to have family to help you, or are you not? Are you going to have to rely on outside people? Are you going to have employees? And that's a whole other avenue to explore. So every year, we have our family farm meeting in January, and we decide, what can we do this year? What is everyone's plans? What do we want to accomplish? And we've been doing this for 15 years, and I definitely see us continuing to do this, but every year we have to reevaluate where we are, what we plan on doing, where we feel like the market is going, and any changes that we need to make. So that's where we are. Do we have any questions yet, or are we still just chatting?
We don't have any. Well, maybe one question just came in. Okay, we do have a question. This is from Kathy. How much of your meat product is pre-sold from the January meat letters?
All of the beef. Well, most of the beef. Right now, I actually have a half a beef that's not spoken for yet. And I usually end up getting a hog or two extra because I know from past experience that I could sell that throughout the year. And turkeys, I always get a few extra turkeys. And then the meat birds, I plan on every year doing 50 a month from June through, actually, I get them in April. So, but they're ready from June through October. So that's 250 birds. Maybe they're not all spoken for in the beginning of the season, but I do know by the end of the season, every chicken I have will be out of here. So I do know that from past experience. Some, in the beginning, I would have some chickens to sell throughout the winter, but now it seems like, as, again, word of mouth, people talking to their friends, this and that, and it depends on what's in the news. As soon as the news makes some comment about meat recalls or some sort of price increase, I get phone calls. And, they find me on the internet, or their friends tell them about us, or they find me at the market, and then they start asking questions. So a lot of it is, but there is still some meat available throughout the season, in the beginning of the season. Towards the end of the season, definitely not as much.
Thank you. This is Colette again. And we
Okay.
have another question. And Lori asks if you'll share your sources for piglets, steers, and poultry. For poultry, I buy my chicks from Mary's Feed in Old Town. I've been ordering from her for years, and she does, I know she gets them from different hatcheries throughout Washington, and she takes very good care of me as far as my feed and my poultry needs. And then I get my piglets from a supplier, Dan, up in Chewelah. And then I get my steers from a guy, Mike Rapati, up in Bonners Ferry. And I've been working with both of these gentlemen for a number of years, and really am happy with the quality of the product that I get from them at the beginning of the season, and am just really thankful that they're farming at that end so I can farm at